My hair journey has really evolved since my time here on YouTube. But that journey is one that started before I even started posting videos here on YouTube, because the first time that I ever experienced a loss of density or hair thickness because of breakage was back in college. I just didn't realize that that's what was causing the loss of density at that time. I thought that my hair was falling out from the root. I was going to the dermatologist to get blood work done to see if I had a hair loss condition. When I started connecting those dots and realizing that I needed to focus on the health of my hair strands to improve my hair is when the first evolution of my hair journey began, which was after I graduated college. A few years after that is when I discovered that hair science was even a thing, and I became obsessed with learning about it. But in the time leading up to that is when my hair was getting over-processed with bleach over and over and over, which, to be very clear, was never my goal in the first place. I have seen a couple comments saying that I fried my own hair, and I'm like, why would I do that on purpose? I obviously wanted to be blonde, but I never wanted it to get to that level, and unfortunately, I was just seeing a stylist at the time who wasn't careful enough with the way that she was coloring my hair. She was putting bleach on top of bleach on top of bleach, and I didn't realize it until it was too late. Since then, I have learned so much more about hair care than I ever knew before. I've become a certified trichologist, and I have completed the second major evolution of my hair journey. Oh, and of course I found a new stylist. She's amazing, by the way. I'll list her information below if you're in the Minnesota area. And in bringing the internet right along with me throughout this journey, I have seen a lot of questions about what I actually changed along that journey. What did I do then that I don't do now? What do I do now that I didn't do then? And everything in between. And because my hair journey is ever changing, as I learn more, as I test more, I loved this as an idea for a new series on my channel, where I discuss everything that I used to do or not do on my hair care journey and in my hair care routines that I do or not do now. Did that make any sense at all? Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. So let's dive into that. If you do notice some stuffiness throughout this video, if I sound a little congested, that's because I am.
Smelly cat, smelly cat. What are they feeding you? This chick sounds good.
In the last video I filmed, I said my throat hurts so bad because I've been filming for hours and just talking so much. Joke was on me because that was actually my first symptom of COVID. It was a rough week. It sure was, but I'm finally feeling a lot better. I just have a little bit of remaining congestion. So I'm I need to get back to work and back to life. I have a mortgage to pay. I got bills to cover. Let's do this. Let's start off with probably the most obvious one, which is that when I get my hair colored, I no longer get a full head of full foil bleach. I see comments all the time on TikTok well, you obviously just stopped bleaching your hair and that's why it's healthy now. I'm do you know how bleach works? Once you bleach your hair, at all really, but especially to the level that I did, the damage is done. Changing the way that you color your hair after that is not gonna reverse the bleach damage that you have. It's not gonna reverse those chemical changes that happen in your hair when you get your hair consistently bleached like I did. There literally are chemical changes taking place internally that cause damage when you get your hair colored, but especially when you get it repeatedly bleached, there can be a chemical change that happens that is irreversible and too far gone for even bond repair products to fix. So again, I say all of that to illustrate the fact that when the damage is done, the damage is done. Changing the way that you color your hair, yes, later on can absolutely help to make sure that that doesn't happen again, but that doesn't reverse the damage that is already there. Unless you're gonna shave your head and start all over, you have to take serious precautions to protect your hair so that it doesn't snap off while it's growing out. So I obviously did take serious precautions, but of course I don't color my hair that way anymore because number one, I don't even like the way that that looked, but number two, I don't want that to happen to my hair ever again. So I am going to list an Instagram post below that explains exactly what my stylist does to my hair. She wrote out the exact color details, so that will be available to you. Essentially what I have been doing for probably 2.5 years now, if I had to guess, is a high lift tint instead of bleach. That's something that of course is still going to cause damage, but it doesn't lighten your hair to the level that bleach does. Your hair's not gonna turn white from a high level tint like it can with bleach so easily. The trade-off with that is that you have to have lighter hair naturally in order for your hair to lift from it, so that works for me because I naturally am a blonde, just a very dark one. And then on top of that, I get a colored gloss to just balance everything out and bring some warmth into it. So that has obviously worked so much better for me. I'm able to to protect the health of my hair as much as possible without having that extreme level of damage while still having great color that I really love. That doesn't mean that that is exactly how you need to get your hair colored in order for you to have healthy hair. Definitely not. I just say that to encourage you to think about different ways that you could potentially get your hair colored that will give you a color that you still love but isn't as damaging as what you're doing now if you are somebody that is getting your hair colored in a way that is extremely damaging like I was. So definitely chat with your stylist about that. They will help you to figure out what makes the most sense for your hair type, what's realistic for you. But I do think that over time, oh my God, like the difference that that can make is huge. But obviously that does not mean that my hair is not getting damaged in the process of getting colored, because it absolutely is. That is just how color works, whether it's a high lift tint, whether it's bleach, whether it's actual dye, it's all causing damage. And I have been very open about the fact that I use heat multiple times a week. So I'm not somebody that never gets my hair colored, never uses heat, and that is why I've been able to grow healthy hair. That is certainly not the case. I have had to go through a lot of trial and error, a lot of product testing, a lot of routine testing, and a lot of research to figure out a way to protect my hair because of everything I do to it. Because like I said, I'm not letting that happen to my hair again over my dead body. So aside from that, because I felt like I had to address the obvious first in order for us to talk about the rest of the video, another major change that I have made throughout my hair journey is that I now wash my hair more frequently. When I first started posting videos on YouTube, I was washing my hair once a week. But that was like 5 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. And that is not something that I do anymore. And I've talked to you guys at length about why I decided to start washing my hair more frequently, why I moved away from the once a week. So I'll list a couple videos below where I address that in more detail if those are videos that you haven't seen yet and you haven't, heard my thoughts on this. But in short, I'll just kind of summarize that by saying that I now have a much better understanding of how important a healthy scalp is in promoting healthy hair growth. And that one of the most important ways to maintain a healthy scalp is to wash it frequently. Hair training is not real. That is a myth that we have all been fed for years and years and years. I believed it. Oh my God, I totally believed it. I had videos on how to train your hair. Newsflash, you can't.
News flash. You're not gonna.
Again, joke's on me. I actually posted an entire video talking about all of the science that I discovered at one point that really helps to illustrate why it's not possible to train your hair. I think that that was like one of the most eye-opening things for me to discover. But even if hair training was somehow possible, you still would want to wash your scalp relatively frequently to maintain optimal health in order to allow for optimal healthy hair growth. Because not doing that leads to a buildup of things that lead to an unhealthy scalp and subsequently unhealthy hair growth. Like just for one example, yeast. An overgrowth of yeast is directly linked to a lot of different scalp conditions, and one of the best ways to mitigate that is to wash as frequently as possible. I am also a realistic person though, and I understand, trust me, I get it, as somebody with a lot of hair, that the wash day process is so time consuming and not all of us have time for that every single day. Most of us don't. So my top recommendation is to figure out a washing frequency that feels manageable for you. I am personally maxed out right now at 3 days a week. I cannot fathom a world in which I added a fourth day. Like, it's just not happening. Like I said, I'm realistic. And that's something that is working really well for my scalp right now, but that doesn't mean that that is the right answer for everybody. While we're on the topic of washing, let's talk about something related that has definitely changed for me since the start of my hair journey, and that is that I am no longer afraid of overusing deep cleaning shampoos, including shampoos that are sulfate based. I could use a little more gloss. I feel like we have been subconsciously taught throughout the last, however many years in the hair care space that deep cleansing, effective cleansing is bad. And maybe not outright, you're not necessarily seeing brands say that, but we are constantly being inundated with terminology like sulfate-free, non-stripping, you name it, anything in that realm. We see those things constantly in hair care marketing. And that has definitely made people afraid to effectively cleanse their scalp and hair. Even if, like I was saying, it's not necessarily this conscious thought. It's not like people are like, I'm afraid to have a clean scalp. It's that people think that I shouldn't be using shampoos with sulfates. I can't use clarifying shampoos more than once a week or it's gonna strip my hair. But the truth is that having effective cleansers in a shampoo does not automatically mean that that shampoo is going to be stripping. And it also doesn't mean that that shampoo is automatically going to be damaging, because there are other ingredients that chemists add to shampoos to make sure that those things don't happen. And since learning that and getting, you know, as much of a grasp as I am able to on hair care formulation without actually having a cosmetic chemistry background, because keep in mind, I am not a cosmetic chemist, in learning as much as I've been able to, I have felt confident in using shampoos that contain sulfates and using these shampoos that are labeled as detox, clarifying, like deep cleansing, anything like that every single time I wash my hair. And all that has happened is that my hair and my scalp feel better than ever. So much so that I now dread having to test out shampoos that only contain gentle cleansing agents. Because I know what's gonna happen. My hair's gonna look greasy more quickly. It may look greasy immediately. That happens sometimes. My scalp's not gonna feel as good. It's probably gonna feel itchy more quickly. My hair is not gonna feel as light and refreshed and free from way down, I think is what I was trying to say. I just have such a better experience in using shampoos that, believe it or not, actually give me a good clean, like they were meant to do in the first place. And my God, do I wish that I had done that sooner, known everything that I know sooner, was able to like really just turn off all of the noise coming at us that tells us that those kinds of things are bad for us. Like at one point, I literally thought if I used a shampoo with sulfates in it, that my hair was gonna fry off. Girl, it was the bleach. It was not the sulfates. And even though I do think that it's gonna take quite some time, I'm hopeful that brands are going to start to turn things around and start to formulate shampoos that give you a really good cleanse, again, which is what they're supposed to do. Because a massive brand has already done this based on customer reviews with one of their biggest shampoos, which is the L'Oreal Everpure Bond Repair Shampoo. That is one that originally only had gentle cleansing agents, was thicker, more dense. I actually just talked about this in my last video, which was a drugstore bond repair showdown, but that shampoo was reformulated, and now the main cleansing agent is the main cleansing agent that is in their clarifying shampoo, which I love to see. That makes me really hopeful that even if we don't get shampoos that have sulfates, we'll at least have more options that actually have effective cleansers. Like, enough with the baby shampoo cleansing agents. We've had enough. We're not babies. We have seborrheic dermatitis and dandruff. I feel like that's a good segue into another major change that I've made. I haven't done this in years, but I think it's worth bringing up, especially while we're on this topic, and that is that I do not nitpick ingredients when I am selecting a hair care routine. Don't get me wrong, I'm of course still looking at the ingredients in products. I like to understand what's there at, I would say, like a relatively high level, but it's more so to see like, oh, are there these kinds of ingredients in this that I know are scientifically proven to strengthen and repair hair, and not to pick out ingredients that I want to avoid. Like, I remember back when I thought I had protein overload on my hair, which I didn't. I was reading through ingredients lists with a fine-tooth comb, and if there was a single added protein in a product, I wouldn't use it because that was going to make my protein overload worse in my head. I learned better and learned that that's not how that works, and I don't do that at all anymore because I understand that I'm not a cosmetic formulator. I have spoken with enough cosmetic chemists to understand that there are no ingredients that we need to actively avoid like that anyway. But even still, we will never know exactly what is what just in looking at an ingredients list. The only person that will know that is the person who formulated the product. So that's why I have stopped doing that over the past few years. I don't think that there's any value in doing that. You're not going to improve the health of your hair in doing that because, like I said, there's nothing that you need to avoid that is in a shampoo or a conditioner or any sort of hair care product that you can find on the shelf at your store. Obviously, like allergies and things like that aside. You want to say hi to everybody? Look at this beautiful girl. Is her name Elsie? Look at this beautiful girl. I love you, baby. The next thing that I no longer do is not as deep of a conversation as the last one, but something that I still see questions on from time to time, and that is if I ever put hair masks on before washing my hair, like before even getting in the shower to wet it, or I guess after I wet it, before I get in to shampoo it. And that is something that I have stopped doing altogether. I stopped doing that a while ago. I think really the transition probably happened when I started using that OGX hair oil, my beloved coconut oil. That is something that I use as a pre-shampoo oil treatment, so you could kind of consider that like my pre-shampoo hair mask. But because I'm putting that oil all over my hair, there's no point in me putting a hair mask on top of that. That oil is really serving the purpose that any pre-shampoo mask would, which is to condition, detangle, make your hair softer, smoother, shinier, to protect it better. And I feel that I get way better results when I use an oil for that purpose than I ever did when I used a mask. Like, I have a specific vision of a hair wash routine video that I did years ago where I think I used like the Briogeo avocado hair mask, that green one. And I feel like I was slathering that on dry hair, or maybe I got my hair wet. That compared to the results that I get with that OGX hair oil, night and day difference. I feel like it's not even a comparison. The results I get are so much better. And I also like the feeling of oil in my hair before I wash it so much better than like a thick, creamy, deep conditioning mask. I don't know if it's just me, but I started hating the way that felt, like putting this gloppy mask on my hair before I even got in the shower versus this like silky oil. I mean, obviously it still feels like you have product in your hair, but it's just a really different application experience. It's different in the way that it feels while it's sitting in your hair. And I just think, oh, honey, did I just whack you? I'm sorry. I just like oils so much better for that purpose, and I now stick to using masks exclusively in the shower. All right, we are actually going to wrap this video here. I have so many other things that I want to share, but I feel like a lot of my videos lately have been so long, like up to an hour in some cases. But I feel like it'd be nice to have this series just be a bit more bite-sized, where instead of trying to fit like a million talking points into each video, I can talk about a handful of things per video and then share these videos more frequently if you would like to see them and if you would like this to be an ongoing series. Are you licking my microphone? So let me know if that's something you'd like in the comments below, because I have so much more that I want to share and I'm excited to talk about. And if you would like this to be an ongoing series just like this, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. Thank you so much for your support in doing those things. Thank you for watching my videos. I love the freaking heck out of you guys. Make sure to stay tuned for my next one because that will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days. I love you more than anything in the whole entire world.